Happy New Year, everyone! To start off the new year, I thought we would do something a little bit different today. Rather than me showing you how exactly to play a song, I'm going to demonstrate how to create your own arrangement of the Canon in D. The Canon in D is such a familiar song. Most people have heard this one many times. Many people use it for their wedding or whatever. It's a very simple song with a very simple chord progression, a very simple melody. You'll notice that the left hand in this one is very predictable and repeatable. Okay, so this was just the first phrase that I've played right there. Let me just show you what's going on in the left hand first, because the left hand is giving us the basic chord progression for the whole song. Now, there are 8 chords, well, 8 bass notes with corresponding chords in the right hand. We're going to talk about that later. 8 bass notes that we used. You can write this down. Write it on a sticky note, put it on your piano. This is the progression in the left hand. All that happens throughout the song, regardless of what the right hand plays, the left hand is always going to do some version of these 8 notes. Start with the D, next is an A, now a B, an F sharp, G, D, G, and A. You can play them down here. Okay, it just depends on the sound that you want. Now, you'll notice too that there's a bit of a pattern, or perhaps you haven't noticed this, but there's a bit of a pattern to this when you play it. The D and the A, if I were to play up, you notice that they are a perfect fifth apart. Okay? The next two are B and F sharp. They too are a perfect fifth. Then we have the G and the D. Again, a perfect fifth. And then we finish off with a G and an A. So you can think of them as pairs, like D and A, B and F sharp, G and D, and then G and A. But I find a better way to remember that, rather than playing from the bottom to the top, which you could do, an easier way to remember is to start on the D and to go down by 4 to that A. Okay, you're going down a fourth. Then the B is right there. That's the next one in our sequence. It's right above the A. And then you're going to again go down 4, but remember it's not F, it's F sharp. Okay, then you're going to go up 1 again to the G, down a fourth, to the D, back to the G, and back to the A. And what comes out of that is a very repeatable pattern. You play, starting on the D, you go down 4, up 1, down 4, up 1, down 4, up 4 actually this time, just to finish it off, the G and the A. That's where the pattern breaks. Alright, so make sure you get that sequence of notes in the left hand. For now, we're just going to keep those as single bass notes, but there's nothing saying that you couldn't play, if you're a little bit more advanced in your playing and you want to try playing arpeggiated chords or something like that, or even just an octave like that with the dominant there in the middle. You can do that on D, followed by A, followed by B, followed by F sharp, G. The order remains the same, it's just that you're voicing the left hand a little bit differently. But if you find that that's just a little bit too advanced for you, just stick with a single note. Okay, in the right hand, I'm going to show you how to play the melody right away, the very recognizable Canon in D melody. But first, before we do that, we need to talk about the theory of this song a little bit more. So this song is written in the key of D. It's why it's called the Canon in D. The key of D simply means that you're using the notes of the scale of D, D major. The 2 black notes are F sharp and C sharp. All right? So when you're using, or when you're improvising anything, when you're creating anything in the right hand, you're going to be choosing from this group of notes. Now, another way to look at that is, rather than just the individual notes of the scale, you could also be looking at the chords in this scale. So a D major, this is going to be one of the main chords that we use. Again, this is the tonal center, the D, and so we want to be using that D chord. We'll be using it fairly often. We'll also be using the F sharp, A, C sharp. This is the F sharp minor. Okay, you'll notice this chord is using the notes of the D scale. It's an F sharp minor. This one appears in this song. Next is the G. Again, these, if you look at the notes of the D scale, you can only use those notes, and so there's your G. The G major chord appears in the D scale. So does the A major. So does the B minor. And then the only two chords that don't appear would be the C sharp diminished and the E minor. So you don't have to worry about those. But other than that, you can trace out all the chords across the D scale. And these are going to be the chords that you're going to use for this song. And perhaps you've already inferred this, that when the left hand plays D, the right hand is going to do some version of a D major chord. Then when the left hand plays the A, the right hand is going to do some version of an A major chord. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Same with the B minor. So the left hand doesn't tell us whether it's major or minor, it simply gives us the B. But we know that it has to be a B minor. If you have a little bit more theoretical knowledge, a B major sounds great, but it doesn't fit into this song because there is no D sharp in this song, right? The D is natural, so it's the B minor that is found in the key of D. Same with F sharp. F sharp, we wouldn't be using the F sharp major because the A is not sharp in the key of D, so it has to be an F sharp minor, all right? G, same thing. When you play the D, we've already talked about the D, we've already talked about the G, that's just a repeat, and there is your A. So to start off playing the song, before you even play any melody whatsoever, this would be a really great way to orient yourself on the keyboard. To start with a D, and just pair up the chords. If you're a little bit more familiar with chords and their inversions, I would recommend actually trying different versions of those, different inversions of the chords. That would be a D here, for example. You could go right to the A like that, all right? Then there would be the closest B minor, and in order to get to the F sharp minor, you could just drop the bottom two notes down. If you're not familiar with chords and inversions, just don't worry too much about this. Here's our G. That would be the inversion of the G there, or of the D. Just move down these bottom two notes to the D, and then you would go back up to the G. So this is a really great way to get yourself ready to arrange something, to just play around with these inversions. Try keeping them all nice and close together, okay? Then if you'd like, you could break them up. Okay, that was something that just kind of came out right now. That was not planned. You don't have to, you want to have an element of spontaneity, but within the framework of what's allowed, so to speak. So that's where these chords, they can give you the framework of how to improvise something that you like. You might want to just try playing the chords from the top. Play them down. So whether you're using an inversion or whether you're using what we would call the root form of the chord, if that's as much as you can kind of wrap your head around with chords, that's fine. Just play all the chords in their root form. You can go top to the bottom. You could also try going bottom to the top. Choose to go down or up to the D, it doesn't matter. It's up to you. Whatever you think sounds good. There's your G. We're going to finish off here with the A. Okay, so that would be a really great way to start off, and that should probably keep you busy for a while.